In this video, we will discuss functions of management. In the last video, we saw what is meant by management and what are the characteristics of management. So this video will discuss the functions of management. It is said that management is what managers do. Means what are the functions that managers generally do? That is what is called management. So this statement points out the functional approach to management. Many management experts have discussed the functions of management in their own ways. Therefore, there is no unanimity among their classification of functions of management. The main reason for this is that different management experts have listed the functions of management on the basis of their own experience in an organization. So management experts so far have explained the functions of management on the basis of their organizational experience. And therefore, there is no unanimous definition or unanimous opinion about the functions of management. Since the nature of activities varies from organization to organization, the list of managerial functions is also likely to vary. We know that many organizations adopt these managerial techniques or they appoint managers, but these organizations are varied from each other on the basis of their functions they perform. And therefore, the list of managerial functions is also likely to vary depending upon the organization in which these managers who have attempted to, or management experts who have attempted to explain the functions of management. Since they work in different organizations, their opinion about the functions of management is also likely to vary. As a result, we have a long list of managerial functions. The observations of one manager of one enterprise may differ from others working in other enterprises. As such, different management experts, executives have listed different functions of management. In the early part of 20th century, a French industrialist named Henry Fayol wrote that all managers perform 5 management functions. These are planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. Luther Bluick used POSDCORB, this abbreviation, to list the functions of management. And in this abbreviation of POSDCORB, P stands for planning, O for organizing, S for staffing, D for directing, CO stands for controlling, R for reporting, B for budgeting. You can see that these are the functions being performed by managers. They plan activities, they organize things in an enterprise, they appoint staff or employees at the right time, right persons, they appoint at the right time, at the right place, and they direct the things and they control the things and they report it to their higher authorities. What is happening in the organization, they always report it to the higher authorities. And they are expected to prepare a budget for their organization. So these are generally the duties or the functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, reporting, and budgeting. Now we can summarize these functions in the form of this table. Planning. So what are the things included in planning? Planning has to be goal-oriented. Therefore, we need to define the goals of the firm, goals of the organization. We have to establish the strategy. So to achieve the goal, we need a strategy. Then develop sub-plans to coordinate these activities. So under the planning function, many things are included like defining the goals, establishing the strategy, and developing sub-plans to coordinate activities. Next function is organizing. Organizing includes determining tasks to be done, what task we need to do, so that we have to decide. Then who has to do this task, who reports to whom, and where decisions are to be made. So these all things are to be taken up in the next function of the management, that is organizing. So determining tasks to be done, who has to do, who reports to whom, and where decisions are to be made. So these questions need to be answered while organizing activities in an enterprise. Next is staffing. Staffing simply means placing right persons at the right place at the right time. That means appoint right persons at the right place at the right time. That is very important. If you appoint a wrong person at a wrong place at a wrong time, then everything will be disrupted in the factory or in the organization. So we have to appoint the right persons at the right place and at the right time. Thirdly, it is directing. It's an important function. Directing and motivating subordinates and resolving their issues. We have to motivate those who work under our control, and we have to direct them. Next, controlling. Controlling means monitoring activities to ensure they are accomplished as planned. So means we have to see whether the people who are appointed under us do the work in accordance with the targets or in accordance with what we expect from them. Unless they do work up to the aspirations or expectations of the company or the organization, we have to take certain corrective actions. All these things are included in controlling. So to put it in a very simple way, you can say that there are 5 important functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. We will discuss each of these functions in detail. What is planning? Planning is a predetermined course of action to accomplish the set of objectives. So we have a set of objectives. It may be profit maximization, sometimes sales maximization, sometimes revenue maximization, or sometimes capturing a good share of the market. Whatever it may be, it is to be attained, accomplished through a course of action. So we need to develop a set of actions. That may include purchasing raw materials, adopting a technology, appointing persons, converting raw material or input into output, labeling it, pricing it, then marketing it. So different things are there. This is a course of action. And why do we take this course of action? This course of action actually aims at accomplishing a set of objectives. So planning is a predetermined course of action to accomplish a set of objectives of the company. Planning gives business organization its objectives and sets up the best procedure for reaching them. It involves decision making as to what is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, where it is to be done, by whom it is to be done, and so on. All these questions we need to answer in the planning process. This planning includes determination of objectives, setting rules, procedures, determining projects. All these things are included in the planning. In practice, planning pervades. It spreads throughout the aspects of a business. It is very much involved in organizing, leading, motivating, and controlling aspects of a business organization. Let us come to the certain quotations. And before we explain before we come to the quotation of Abraham Lincoln, We know that the importance of planning lies in the fact that it ensures smooth and effective completion of activity. Smooth and effective completion of activity. That is what we require. So planning is very essential for that. Experience suggests that it does not take time to do the things. We may take less time to do the things if we take a lot of time for planning. So you must use a good part of your time for planning so that the time, actual time we take to finish a work may be reduced. That means, so it is usually seen that people take less time for planning and more time to work. But it is better to take more time for planning and less time to work. That is what is expected of an organization. In fact, it takes time to decide what to do, when to do, where to do, and how to do. So we need time for that. We need to take a lot of time to decide on these aspects. No, once Abraham Lincoln said, if I am given 6 hours to cut down a tree, suppose that Abraham Lincoln is given 6 hours to cut down a tree, he will take first 4 hours to sharpen the axe. He will not use the entire 6 hours to cut down the tree. He will take the first 4 hours to sharpen the axe. That means that much preparation, that much planning he will do. That's the meaning. If I am given 6 hours to cut down a tree, I shall take the first 4 hours to sharpen axe. This is the word of Abraham Lincoln, the quotation of Abraham Lincoln, which clearly shows the necessity of planning, the importance of planning. This is not only about our individual activity, it is equally true in the case of a firm or a company or an organization. Equally true there also. Now, we will come to the next important function, that is organizing. What is organizing? Look at the last sentence. Organizing involves bringing together the manpower and material resources for the achievement of objectives set by the enterprise. So we have to bring together manpower, material resources, finance, each and everything. For what? For the achievement of objectives set by the enterprise. So planning is not managing a business. Means if there is only planning, you cannot do a business. It also includes bringing together the executive personnel, workers, capital, machinery to execute the plans. So to execute the plans, to do the plan on the ground, we need to bring together all these things. When these resources are assembled, then the enterprise comes to life. So for that, organizing is very important. Organizing involves dividing work into different parts, grouping these activities in the form of positions, grouping of various positions into departments, assigning such positions to the managers, and delegating authority to each manager to accomplish the work in a planned manner. Just like what we do in our colleges. A principal delegates some activities, work to the heads of the departments. Heads of the department will in turn delegates activities to the tutors or the means teachers. That means, so this is a kind of organizing the activities, dividing the work into different parts and delegating the activities to different persons. This organizing function can be viewed as a tool to translate plans into realities. This is very important. In organizing function, what we do is that we are translating plans into realities. In short, organizing provides a mechanism for purposely integrated and cooperative action by many people in a joint and organized effort to implement the plan. So in organizing, what we actually do is that we are translating the plans into realities. Now, next important function of management is staffing. Simply speaking, staffing means appointing the right person at the right place at the right time. Staffing involves manpower planning and manpower management. In simple words, staffing function includes preparing inventory of personnel available, requirement of personnel, sources of manpower supply, their selection, give remuneration, training and development, and periodic performance appraisal of person in the working of an enterprise. So staffing function is performed by every manager of the enterprise. So you have to first prepare an inventory of personnel available. Then you have to recruit the persons. From recruitment, you have to select the persons. Then you have to place the persons. You have to give them remuneration. You have to give them training. And apart from all these things, you have to appraise the performance. You have to evaluate the performance of the persons. All these things come under staffing. Personnel department facilitates managers in their staffing function. So in many of the organizations, you can see human resource department or personnel department. They will do all these activities. However, staffing function is a very complex and difficult function because it relates to the selection of those persons who are properly qualified and mentally rich for business requirement. The main role of staffing function is to ensure the adequate availability of required human resources all the times in the organization, and also to ensure a good fit between persons and post. This is very important. Good fit, good fit between persons and post. That means persons and post. So this must be matched. We must appoint the right persons at the right post. Means persons must be fitted to the post. There is a good fit between the persons and post. So this is ensured in this staffing process or staffing function. So in staffing function of the management, the managers attempt to ensure a good fit between persons and post. If wrong persons are appointed at the wrong place, then this will create problems. So that means we have to ensure that good fit is there between persons and post. And to ensure that, we need staffing function, or that function should be performed by the managers to ensure that there's a good fit between the persons and post. The fourth function is directing. The functions like planning, organizing, and staffing, I mean, the third functions which we have explained so far, planning, organizing, staffing, are merely preparations for doing the work. Directing function actually starts the work. We direct the people to do this. Directing. We will ask these persons to do this. We appoint the persons at the right place at the right time. That is staffing. So we plan it, we organize it, bring together these things, and we staff the things. Means the activities are properly delegated to people, because we actually appoint the persons at the right place. So that's our planning, organizing, staffing. Now, these are the planning, organizing, staffing are preparations. Directing is very important. We have to tell them, we have to direct them, do this activity, do that activity, like that. Directing is concerned with guiding, teaching, stimulating, and actuating the members to work effectively. Directing involves telling the employees what and how they have to do the assigned jobs and tasks. So we have to tell them to do these things in this way, that way, like that. So directing involves telling the employees what and how they have to do the assigned jobs and tasks. Once employees are oriented to their jobs, they need continuous guiding, communication, motivating, and leading. In the words of Joseph Baines, directing concerns the total manner in which a manager influences the action of his subordinates. It's the final action of a manager in getting others to act after all preparations have been completed. N.R. Narayana Murthy, a successful manager, one of the founders of the Infosys, once said, "Leading is about creating vision. communicating that vision to one's followers, and exhorting them to move towards that vision. This sentence might explain very well the intention behind directing function of management. Now we will come to the last function, that is controlling. What is actually controlling? Controlling means to see whether the activities have been or being performed in conformity with the plans or not. So we have a plan. Now we have to see whether the people perform these functions in accordance with the plan. And for that, we need to control them. Directing is different from control. Directing means we are telling the people to do a particular work in a particular way. In controlling, we are actually trying to know whether these people have done their work up to our expectations or in accordance with our plans. If they do not work in accordance with our plans, we will try to correct them. We will correct them. All these things are included in controlling. So this controlling is comparison of actual results with the targets and objectives. Identification of variation between the two. If there is a variation between the two, we will correct. And taking corrective measures so that objectives set are achieved. A management expert has defined controlling in these words. Controlling is a process of checking to determine whether or not proper progress is being made towards the objectives and goals, and acting if necessary to correct any deviation. So if there is a deviation between what we expect from the people and what they have actually done, then we will try to take corrective actions. All these things are included in controlling. What flows from the above description is that controlling function of management involves the following sub-functions. Controlling function has certain sub-functions like determination of objectives, measurement of actual performance. We have to measure actual performance, then comparison of actual performance with the standard, with the objective, determination of the difference between the two. If there is a difference, what are the, so we have to determine how much difference is there, then taking corrective actions. There are three main elements involved in management cycle. This can be called management cycle: planning, execution or implementation, control. These are the three important aspects in a management cycle. So these are three, simply speaking, these are the three actions which we do in management: planning, implementation or execution, then control. As a matter of fact, the entire planning, action, control process of management is repetitive. These are repetitive. This will look like the following cycle. First, planning, action, control. Then this control may lead to planning again. So this is a cycle of activities. This is what is called a management cycle. Management cycle. Okay. So we have seen the functions of management. The first function is planning. What is meant by planning, we have explained. Then organizing, the next function. Third, staffing. Fourth, directing. And fifth, controlling. And at the end, we have explained what is meant by management cycle. So with this finish, we finish this class. Thank you.